there, it's Pam. It's been about a week, maybe more now, since I put up a review, and so I wanted to get something up, so I decided I would do a vlog. I am working on a new retro review about a Sega CD game that I think is pretty cool, and I think people will like it. However, the game's a little longer than most of the games I've played so far, so it's just taking me a bit to finish the game, and then I have to write and record the review. But anyway, this topic was inspired by LifeSpiller, who has a cool YouTube channel that I like to watch. I will put his information in the description below. Be sure to check him out. But a couple weeks ago, he made a video about his 5 biggest gamer pet peeves. And I thought that was a pretty good topic. I mean, everyone likes to complain about the stuff that bugs them, and I am no exception to that. So, I thought I would take that topic and share some of my pet peeves. Some of them are things that are actually in games, and some of them are things that are more around gaming and the gaming community. So my first pet peeve is something that some games do, and that is not put in an option to invert the y-axis. This drives me crazy. Most games do it. I mean, shooters and everything are pretty good with that, but I just finished Until Dawn last week, and though in general it's sort of like adventure type, there's still sometimes where you have to aim and shoot guns and things. You have to aim your flashlight, and they don't give you that option to invert the y-axis. And since there's a lot of quick time events that depend on fast reactions, like my reaction time is half what it should be because I can't make the controls how I want them. So that's really annoying. I honestly can't even tell you what it was or when it was that made me start inverting the y-axis. It's just something I'm pretty sure I've been doing the entire time I've been gaming. I think like super early on that was kind of the default, and since then it's gone back to regular, and I'm not sure why that is, but it's super annoying when it doesn't give you an option to invert, because it's really difficult to play for me without being able to invert the y-axis. My second pet peeve is episodic games. It seems a lot of games are sort of going this way. Telltale in particular is a company that really likes the episodic format, and I personally just don't like it. Like The Walking Dead Season 1, which was a game I loved, and it was also a game that I played all at once because I waited until the whole thing was out before I played it. But then when I played The Wolf Among Us, I got that sort of as they came out, and between episodes I really sort of lost interest, kind of forgot what the story was. So I found that the episodic stuff really impacts my gameplay and impacts my enjoyment of the game. So I either have to wait until all of them are out, or if I do get them as they go, I don't know, it's not as good of an experience for me. Lately I've just been avoiding these games. Like I got the Borderlands one. I played episode 1 and actually really liked that, but again, the second episode wasn't out yet. I lost interest. Life is Strange is another one. I was really excited for that game initially because it's made by the people who did Remember Me, and I really liked that game. But at the same time, first of all, they copied the Telltale format, which I'm not really a fan of. I'm kind of bored of that by now. And second, again, episodic. I don't want to wait between episodes. If you have a game with a cohesive narrative, I need to be able to have access to it all at once. Otherwise, it sort of loses its impact. I've been waiting for what feels like years to play Kentucky Route Zero. Again, that's a game where it's episodic, and sometimes there's, a year between episodes, so I've just decided I will wait until the whole thing is out. My third pet peeve in games is durability. It's one of those things where I don't know if they're putting it in for realism, which is silly because games, especially AAA games, are really not based in reality in any way. But so many games put in durability, so your weapons and your armor and your equipment starts breaking, so you either need to maintain it, which usually costs gold or whatever the in-game currency is. So it just ends up being this huge money sink, as well as possibly a time sink if you have to run off and find a blacksmith to get it. Witcher 3 was one. By the end of the game, the durability wasn't so bad, but at the beginning of the game especially, there was times when I couldn't even afford to repair my armor. So just, I don't know, I don't really feel like it adds anything to the game. World of Warcraft does that as well. I used to play that for a long time, and it was just a gold sink. Like, there was really no reason for your equipment to take durability damage. Like, the last thing you want is to get a cool piece of gear and be worried about it breaking. So yeah, that's just something I don't think adds anything to games, so that's a pet peeve for me. Alright, now going sort of outside of actual games to the more community type things. I share one of LifeSpiller's pet peeves, which is people who sort of quibble about the details, like, no, this game didn't come out in this year, it came out in that year, who are always trying to correct you whenever you have anything to say. I think gamers have a lot of knowledge in their heads, some of it useful, some of it not, and they want to sometimes like show people, like tell you how much they know about video games, but a lot of times it comes off as kind of patronizing. Like, sometimes I'll get comments on YouTube. I mean, most of my comments have been really good so far, but I'll have a review of the game and someone will comment, oh, this is a really rare game, and I'm like, yeah, I just reviewed it and I was holding it in my hand, and at the end of my video I actually said how rare it was, so you clearly didn't watch it. So just things like that. It's happened with a lot of things. As I said, I used to play Warcraft. I played it for a long time. I blogged about it, I theory crafted, and people would be like, oh, did you know this about druids? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, I don't know, people just need to think about their audience and who they're talking to, and think like, hey, here's a girl who plays a lot of games and writes about games, makes videos about games, and generally just won't shut up about video games. Maybe she knows what she's talking about. But as it is, I think it is not necessarily people meaning to be jerks. It's just people wanting to share their excitement and their knowledge about games. But just sometimes it just comes off really bad when you're telling someone who's clearly a fan of this game rather basic information about these games. And my last pet peeve is one that I should just avoid entirely. I mean, we all know we're supposed to avoid the comments, but sometimes I just can't help it. On the larger review sites, when people quibble about review scores, that's a huge turn-off. It's one of those things that was like a car accident and I can't look away. I read it and I just get angry, but I can't stop myself. You know, people give a game an 8. No, that game's not more than a 7. Or no, that should have been an 8.5 at least. Like, reviews are all subjective. They're all opinions. People like to get different things from games. People look for different things in games. I mean, if one reviewer wanted to just totally review a game from a mechanical and quality assurance standpoint, like, 10 out of 10, this game had no visible bugs. Like, that's fine. They can do it. It's not a particularly useful review, but if they want to do it, I'm not going to argue with them. Same with people who, you know, look at things more like representation and diversity in games. If that's not what you're into, that's fine. You don't need to read that review, or if you do read that review, you don't need to take it into account when you decide if you want to buy that game or not. But yeah, just people really think everyone should share their opinion when a game review or a game opinion piece is just an opinion. It's subjective. What I like, you might not like. What you like, I might not like. You know, just deal with it. People have different opinions. Alright, so those are my top 5 gaming pet peeves. At least at the moment, they sort of change as time goes on. Again, I want to thank LifeSpiller for the idea. I have his info in the description. Be sure to check out his channel for more great talk about games. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.